Hello again and welcome to another Warhammer 40k Mordian Glory video. And in today's episode, I want to talk to you about the exciting world of sprues. That's right, look at all of this beautiful grey plastic, unbuilt, unsullied by human hands. Okay, a bit sullied by human hands. I have built one of them, but mildly sullied by human hands. Sprues, a very exciting topic, I know. But before you click off this video, bear with me 1 second, because I'm going to make a bold statement, a very bold statement, a bold Mordian glory statement, and I am going to challenge the preconceived notion, the long-held belief that Games Workshop makes the best models in the industry. Ooh, I know that is a spicy topic. That is a hot topic. Now, I want to start off by saying that I think at one point, Games Workshop did make the best sprues. And I will also say that GW definitely makes some of the highest quality kits, and they also have very, very, very good detail. Not denying any of that. I'm not saying GW models are bad. What I'm saying is I don't think they have a monopoly on good models anymore. I think that the industry as a whole has started catching up to them, and GW has made a few critical mistakes with their recent sprues and their recent models, and I'm going to take you through all of that in today's video. It's gonna be a spicy one, so you know what, let's not mess around any further. Let's get out a hobby knife, get some glue together, and let us dive right into today's episode. I want to start by talking about what prompted me to make this video, and it was this little chap right here. He is one of the new Death Corps of Krieg. Well, I say new, it's a few years old at this point, but relatively new as far as guard kits go. And I was doing a live stream, and I started off the live stream, it was a building and hobbying one, and I was restoring a Chaos Baneblade. And this thing was fully converted and customized. It had been sent over to me by a fan of the channel, but unfortunately, whilst it could survive 10,000 years in the warp, it could not survive one trip via FedEx. And it was a Stormlord, and it got nicknamed a Shatterlord because of how many parts it arrived in. It was essentially broken down to its constituent bits. Now, this was a model that was badly damaged and that I had to rebuild, whilst also understanding there was a bunch of chaos stuff that had been added to it. Amazingly, it didn't take me that long to put together because it was relatively well, I just got all the bits and I organized them. Okay, that's a track bit, that's a body bit, that's, the main hull and everything. And then about 2 hours later, I'd restored the whole thing on stream. Now, I thought it was going to take me the whole time. So I ended up being like, well, I don't want to end the stream early, so I'll build some of the models. And I was like, I've got some of these Death Corps of Krieg infantry. I'm going to convert them over to Chaos with some head swaps. So why don't we build some of those? It took me longer to build a squad of Death Corps of Krieg infantry with an instruction booklet than it did for me to restore the Shatterlord to its former glory. And that got me thinking, why the hell was it so difficult for me to build these Kriegers? I mean, they're just infantry. They're basic infantry. I've built so many guardsmen in my time. I have a pure infantry Mordian Iron Guard army. I have built literally over 1,000 infantry models for my guard in total and other armies. I've never had an issue before. Why was this such a pain in the ass? But that's when I realized something. This is one of the first modern GW kits that I have built. I'm an old school player. I'm a grognard. I'm a longbeard. I'm trapped in the past with my giant pile of shame. And whenever I build a new infantry squad, I don't build one of the new Cadians. In fact, I think I built one new Cadian model since they came out. Actually, what I tend to build is these things. This is the old school Cadian sprue. And it's very simple. You've got 5 legs, you've got 5 bodies, which are all pretty much the same, and you've got some heads on top. That's it. A little bit. You've got a Voxcaster there, you've got a flamer tank there, and then over here you've got the weapons. You've got your lance guns and your arms, and that's it. And you might look at this kit now and think, well, this is really basic. But actually, this kit right here is ridiculously well laid out. Because think about it, everything that you need when you're building the model is together. So the bodies and the legs are together. So you go, right, I'm going to cut a leg off the sprue, then I'm going to cut a body off the sprue, I glue them together, that's the big chunky bits of the model done already. I then build a head, that's done. I literally just take, I don't have to take that, the head's not in like 3 different pieces, I take the head off the sprue, I put it on the model, and it's done. And then when I factor in the arms into account, to build an old school Cadian takes 5 separate parts. That's it. And what's crazy is I don't need any instructions to build these things, because the parts are laid out on the sprue very ergonomically, very naturally. Bodies with legs, well, it's easy to identify what bit's what. Heads on the same sprue here. So once I've done the main part of the model, I can then move on to the weapons. Very well designed and laid out.
Attention guardsmen, this is an announcement by the Departamento Munitorum. Element Games is an official sponsor of the Mordian Glory channel. They offer up to 20% off Warhammer 40k and 10% off bolt action and other game systems. Use the link down in the description to save money and support the channel. Anyone not using the link will be referred to the local commissariat. Also, don't forget that if you use referral code TIM3921, then you will receive double store credit, saving even more money on your future purchases. That's all for now. Fallout!
But that's the old sprue. Let's take a look at the new one. This is an absolute monstrosity. This is so unergonomic, so badly laid out, that you cannot build these models without the instructions. This old school sprue, you can easily muddle your way through that without needing to refer to a pamphlet. In fact, little side note, I recently built one of these old school Cadians on stream with my eyes completely shut. I just felt the parts on the sprue, built it, and I did that on stream. And I'll make sure that I link to that stream, and I'll put a timestamp on that in the comment section of that stream, so you can go and watch that bit if you don't believe me. Literally built a model completely blind, okay? There is no way I could do that with this sprue. And this is the #1 issue with the new GW sprues. The detail is amazing. The end model is brilliant. But getting there is a pain in the ass, because the sprues are just chaotic. There's a leg here, there's a leg here, there's a leg here, there's a leg here, there's a leg. The legs aren't together. Look, the legs are not together. And then there's a weapon here, there's a weapon here, there's a weapon here, there's a back here, there's a weapon here, there's a chainsaw here. It's like the weapons aren't together. And what I find, the detail's good, but I have to literally use the instruction booklet, and I have to clip out the exact bits, and then I have to build those models exactly how the instructions tell me. One thing that I kept finding with these Deathcore of Krieg is if I got the arms mixed up, if I got like arm 52 mixed with arm 53, which is very easy to do because the sprues are like, if I turn this over here and you've got the numbers, it's like, well, okay, if I'm not familiar with this kit, I might think that this this little 38 little here relates to this little backpack here. It doesn't. That backpack is actually 37. So if I get like the wrong bit mixed, I'm like, okay, this is like leg 40. This is arm 40. Now is this the arm 40 or is this the arm 40? They're right next to each other. Now obviously with a little bit of, you know, practice and maybe with a bit of intuition, you can figure out, you look at the instruction booklet and you can, okay, well this arm, it looks like it's not got a hand on it, so this one's probably 40, not this one. But the point is, you have to follow the instructions line by line, letter by letter. And if you don't, because the GW models are less convertible as each kit goes along, because each bit needs to go together, if you mess up, you're going to end up with guardsmen who are like, they're trying to like hold the rifle. Let's say this is the rifle, and rather than holding the rifle here, what's happening is they're like this, because the arms aren't matching up because you've accidentally got part 42 mixed up with part 53. It's an absolute nightmare. Now, some bits are good. Like, they've got all the heads together here, like fair play. But apart from that one bit, it's so spread out. And the model tolerances are so, like, tight that if you don't follow the instructions, you end up just having to pull models apart. And I would also say what's crazy is it feels like GW models are in more bits than they need to be. Like, why? You know, these legs being together is brilliant. This body being one piece is brilliant. I then go over to the Cadian sprue and it's like, okay, well, I've got the front of the body, I've got the back of the body, I've got like a backpack for that body as well, and then I've got this leg is separate. Why are the legs separate? Now, I would understand if the legs were all separate, if it meant that I could build my models in a variety of different poses, but I can't. I can't build because I have to follow the instructions exactly. Because leg 4 will only go with like leg 5. So if I put, I'm not actually getting any benefit from having the parts in a more, what should we say, like finer detail, more granular level of detail. What's happening is I'm actually just finding it harder to build the models, and that is a really big problem with GW kits. That's where I think they've made a huge critical mistake, because the kits are unergonomic, they're unfriendly. And if you build a kit and it's a struggle and it's a slog and you are gritting your teeth to get to the end of it, you don't want to do it again. And if you don't want to do it again, it means you're not going to buy another one of those kits. But Mordian, I hear you cry, surely having sprues that are a little bit more fiddly is worth it when you get that sweet, sweet, crisp extra detail. There's no other model company out there that can rival GW on detail. Well, that would be a good point if it was true. But unfortunately, the idea of GW making the finest detailed models is actually a thing of the past. Let me give you an example. Here we have the latest Warlord Games Alpini sprue. Now, I know what many of you are thinking. Oh, Mordian, here you go again, wanking off Warlord Games, how much they pay you to shield for them, blah, blah, blah. No, honestly, I'm not sponsored by Warlord Games or anything like that. I just really like the kits that they've been putting out recently, and this Alpini one is a great example of that. This kit is as detailed as a Games Workshop one. Okay, let me give you a few examples. Let's have a look at the infantry at the front here. Okay, now you hopefully will be able to see this with the camera, but he's got little cross webbing there. He's got little pouches, grenades. The little you can see around. I wonder if I can get that close enough so you guys can really see this. Look at this guy's coat here. It's got a little bit of fur trim around the bottom. The pockets are deformed by the webbing, which is what you would expect if you had like a webbing on your back. You'd expect your pockets to be deformed or pressed in or crushed. They've got that. They've got the little buttons. They've got the little puttees on the boots. The boots have got boot laces. And then we come over to the back. And again, you can see there's all the creases in the uniform. It's really, really fine detailed. And then here's what really blew my nips off. And I wonder if, I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but we'll see if we can get it to. See, there's that little bit just there. There you go, that little bit's there. That is a feather. Now that feather is to go in the cap of the Alpini. Now that feather could have just been a sliver of smooth plastic. Now I don't know if you can see this on camera, but let me tell you, it is serrated around the edges like a feather. It's got a line down the middle of it. It is textured, it is smooth, it is a tiny, tiny detail, and yet, tiny part, and yet there is a huge amount of detail on that one feather. I mean, look at the rifle just above. You could look at how tiny the trigger is on that rifle, and yet they have a trigger there. Look at how tiny the foresight is on the rifle, and yet it's there. My point is, whilst this kit isn't as over the top as like a 40k one, as bombastic as a 40k one, because it's more realistic, it's more subtle, but there is just as much detail, just as much on this new kit right here from Warlord as there is from the new Cadians from Games Workshop. But look at the difference in ergonomics. It's like going back to that old Cadian one. The bodies are in one piece. Why have the body, why have the legs in two separate pieces and the body in 2 or 3 separate pieces when it's only going to come together to make the same pose anyway? Just have them all as one bit. So the body is all in one piece, and then you have a head, and all the heads are together, and you've got all the heads with helmets together, and then you've got all the heads with Alpini caps together, and you've got a few of the special ones up here, but all the heads are in one place. And the rifles, look at the rifles, they are just in one part. So what you do, if you add this up, you've got 1 part, 2 parts, 3 parts. That's all it takes to build one of these new riflemen. 3 parts. I think to build a new guardsman, you must be looking at double digits, right? You must be looking at double digits. You've got the legs in 2 parts. You've got the body in 3 parts. That's 5. You've got the weapon in 1 part, and then you've got the in 2 parts. Sorry. And then you've got the. Let's say. Generously, let's be generous. Let's say you've got 8. It's 8 parts to build a GW Cadian. 8 to 9 parts to build a GW Cadian in the most basic way, not including extra weapon pouches. Now, I've not included extra weapon pouches here, but to be fair, they come with the weapon pouches, so I don't need to put them on. Okay, so if we add into the weapon pouches, well, okay, we're looking at 10 parts. 10 parts to build a new Cadian, or 3 parts to build a new rifleman. New Alpini rifleman. This is so well laid out. It's so ergonomic. All the bits that need to go together are together. That Warlord Games doesn't even give you instructions. That is such a flex by the company. We don't need to give you instructions. In fact, we're going to give you a piece of paper in the box, and it's going to be more focused on like historical paint schemes for this, and like pointing out little details for how you might want to build your models a bit more historically. But we're not actually going to give you any instructions, because we don't need to give instructions, because the models are so easy to build. And I recently built one of these on camera, on my unboxing video. It took me 2 minutes. Having never built the kit before, I built my first one ever, 2 minutes, no instructions on camera. And so this brings me back to the point I was making at the beginning. I'm not denying that Games Workshop makes detailed models. Of course they make detailed models, they're great, look at them. But other companies can now match that detail without any issues. And so, in my mind, if you have 2 sprues next to each other, and both of those sprues are equally detailed, but one is so much easier to build and so much more user-friendly, well, in my mind, that's the better kit. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Do you believe that GW still makes the best models and the best kits in the industry? Or do you think that that gap has closed to the point now where that claim could no longer be made? If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members, and Patreons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordy and Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the Call of Duty. So a massive thank you to Bonbonvert, Mad Larkin, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, August Vardy, and the Tommies. Thank you guys. Your incredible support makes a huge difference, and it is a big part of how I'm able to do Mordy and Glory full time. But that's all for now. Thank you for watching, and of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.